Hello everyone, so I'm going to be presenting my part 3 assignment today in regards to my paper. The outside sources I'm using are in-class text and film, and as well state my thesis and my own personal connection to the human experience theme that I will be discussing. So to start off, I will be presenting my outside source. It's a movie that I feel is really valuable in the lesson that I'm trying to portray in my paper, and it's one that we're all familiar with. So, to begin, The Pursuit of Happiness is my outside source. It's a biographical drama of Chris Gardner's year-long struggle of being homeless and striving to make a life for both him and his 5-year-old son, Christopher. So I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it was based on a true story. Chris Gardner actually has a cameo in the film where he walks at the closing scene with both Will and Jaden Smith after he's making a funny joke to his dad. It was just his way of putting himself in the film that was about him and his own struggles. So despite all the odds, Christopher Gardner maintains a positive view, and with the love of his son, grows to become a Wall Street legend. So I think it's important to recognize the growth that he kept on pursuing in face of all these adversities. He did not give up, and despite having no place to live, no money, no actual guarantee of the future, or sleeping in a bathroom with his son, he still pursued everything possible and kept a smile on his face and his son's hopes alive, to provide a better life for them. So I think that's really important, because too often I feel that we're finding pity in all of our ordeals, and that's kind of what my paper's centered around. But I'll get to my outside or my in-text sources before I get into that. So my in-class texts, the first one is the Thich Nhat Hanh, True Love, A Practice for the Awakening Heart. So, the renowned Zen Buddhist monk, he, attempts to outline ways that to overcome obstacles that arise when loving oneself and another. This guide educates readers on the 4 key aspects of love and describes direct ways to practice authentic love. So, through doing that, he also acknowledges how individuals can help themselves in face of adversity, whether that's a failed relationship or doubt in oneself, or in the principle of non-duality, which my quote will center around here. He explains that if a person has never suffered or has been hungry or in pain, he will never understand happiness. So don't say that you don't want that stuff, because you need to. It's an impossible thing to not have it. And without having it, we wouldn't know how to have compassion and love and understanding. So I think that's a really important point to make, especially in terms of true love, because you want to believe that you're never going to cause anyone harm or experience any harm or stay out of harm's way, but that's just not realistic. And I think he does a beautiful way of justifying the bad in the world and in love itself. The next quote is centered around, the use of our eyes. The actual gift of being able to see is, incredible. Really, it really is powerful to think of. We have this paradise and this blessing of using our eyes, but we take that for granted, and we should recognize the condition of the basic happiness that we have right in front of us and our abilities, because some people wake out without them. So I think it teaches us to be conscious and thankful. My next source and text in the class is Camus' sustained essay that goes into a deep analysis to determine not only whether the act of suicide is justifiable, but the assertion of the absurdity of human life. So, he promotes people living with personal existence and living with dignity and authenticity despite the lack of purpose the universe has outlined for us. We really don't know where we're going and how we're going to get there, but we might as well live our lives for us while we're here. And a few quotes that he used in here were, he says that they defy what crushes them and finds reason to hope in what impoverishes them. So I think that's super powerful, because the things that were set out to ruin us, we found power in and, flipped the whole table around. And I think that's something that he makes a point of throughout the whole text. And, this quote as well, it must be said what matters above all is conclusions they have managed to draw from those discoveries. So that's super powerful as well, because we can't, we have to take what is and make it something of our own and better than what we think that we have, just in face of that adversity. So My last and final source from the class is, A Life is Beautiful. So I don't know if you guys knew this when watching the film, but it is based on the book In the End, I Beat Hitler by Rubino Romeo Salmoni. Guido fights to protect his sons from the horrors of Jewish concentration camps, and through the use of humor, imagination, and love, he actually ends up saving his son from certain death. And you know, Rubino Salmoni, he said that he wrote this book in honor of his father, who made the ultimate sacrifice of giving him life and shielding him from the bad in the world. Although we obviously saw that he was suffering. So I think that really aids in the help of my essay in seeing that perspective. But my thesis statement is pain and pleasure are essential elements of the human condition. So in order to experience pleasure, humans must first face adversity in life. Following along the lines of a lot of my sources, in face of these bad things, you are able to create such meaning and such purpose. In because of these harsh realities that we're always facing in conditions and adversities. And I think that it's important to not only center it on one or the other. Frequently throughout our courses, the question was, is human condition centered around pain or pleasure? Well, it's neither, and it's both, and in both of the same ways. Like you don't just get one out of life, you get one alongside the other, and you get one because of the other. So that's what I hope to assert in my paper. So my personal perspectives, I'll be answering the questions like, why do I believe the bad is necessary? What have I experienced to lead me to believe this way? And how do other themes discussed throughout our course connect to my thesis and support it? So just a little closing thought to leave you with why I chose this and how I'm going to go about it. So I chose to discuss the theme of the human condition of revolving around pain and pleasure and its purpose in the human existence, because I feel that humans are often hesitant and combative to the feeling of pain and suffering. So too often we feel that the adversities we face in life are, never ending and unnecessary. And I myself fall victim of this pity that we often put ourselves through in life. And when my mother passed away, it was, why me? Or when a bill comes up, or any type of finance or medical emergency, I'm just like, really, I can't catch a break. But in reality, though we all face various difficulties throughout our life, we're experiencing this pain for a greater purpose. I don't believe it's because of a religious belief or fulfilling of prophecy or debt, but that we can't recognize the goodness and blessings within life without having known the opposite. So I feel that in every downfall, we believe we are never going to overcome it, and that these are the worst and most unfortunate souls that we have ever lived the earth. When in reality, we have so much to be thankful for, and so much that is still coming our way. So I hope to utilize my sources I previously mentioned to convey the necessity of the struggles in life to illuminate the possibility of pleasure and happiness in the human existence. So thank you guys for watching, and I'm excited to get started.